you torn between the 8600K that's in this PC next to me and the Ryzen 2600X? Well, this video might help you out. This is mostly focused on gaming, so just bear that in mind as we go through the results and stuff. And I'd also like to mention that Mesh and Asus are sponsoring this video, so thank you to those guys. You can check out this PC or the Ryzen 2600X build guide or build in the description down below, so feel free to take a look at those. Now on paper, picking the parts up just themselves, the 2600X is slightly cheaper than the 8600K. Motherboards wise, especially looking at say the Asus X470 Prime versus the Z370 Prime, you're looking at pretty similar price points for each, and of course the rest of the system is basically identical, same RAM, cooler and all that sort of stuff will work just fine. And in this case we've actually got a GTX 1080 to test with, so yeah, should be interesting. Now of course both of these chips are 6 cores, although the 8600K is 6 cores, 6 threads, whereas the 2600X is a hyper-threaded, or I suppose SMT chip, which has means that it has 12 threads available. They run at pretty similar clock speeds, although the 8600K does tend to turbo a bit higher all-core, although temperature-wise the 8600K is generally a bit hotter and draws a bit more power, so just bear those in mind. Now with that said, let's take a look at the performance results. First one is 3D Mark Firestrike. This is a synthetic test which gives you an idea of both the actual sort of CPU horsepower as well as obviously its ability to play games. And in this case, the 8600K is kind of pipping the post slightly. It's only about 2 to 3% faster, so there is some kind of relative margin of error here that you can expect. And overall, especially because of the core speed, you're looking at slightly faster on the Intel side. Now, a bit of an asterisk to the next two, which is Dirt Rally and GTA 5. I've had a lot of trouble getting them to work at 1080p properly, so the results that you're seeing are the best that I could get, but I'm not convinced that they are the best that the chips can do, so just take these ones with a pinch of salt, as with all of the benchmarks really. But with that said, we're looking at, I think, a sort of 170 sort of point for Dirt Rally with 155 for the 2600X, and that 176 I think is the 8600K, so there's a good margin of difference here in this. Again, while I'm not quite sure that these results are perfectly accurate, the 8600K does win out, especially at 1080p, which is what all of these benchmarks are at. And looking at GTA 5, again, same with Dirt Rally, we're looking at pretty similar results where we're seeing a good bit of difference, again, at 1080p on very high settings between the 8600K and the 2600X. So at least in my current testing, it looks like the Intel side is winning out. Unit in Heaven, which is definitely a synthetic benchmark but uses an actual game engine, so it isn't quite the same as 3D Mark Firestrike, shows a pretty close race with I think 178 and 170-ish, so pretty close. There's only a couple of percentage points in that too, so there's again a little bit of room for margin of error and pretty close overall, although again the 8600K is slightly faster. In terms of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, I was playing on the newer Sanhok map and I tried to recreate the events and the places that I went to as, you know, kind of best as possible in each of the matches that I played, and I played multiple games while benchmarking over 300-second intervals and then averaging all of those numbers for each resolution, which took a very long time. But again, we're mostly looking at 1080p here, as that's the kind of biggest difference on the CPU side. So the actual benchmark numbers, we're looking at some pretty close ties here. So 115 for the 8600K and I think 109 for the 2600X. So there's only about a 5% performance difference here, and while the 8600K is faster, of course you're really not going to notice that much of a difference, especially if you're running on a 60Hz monitor, and even on a 144Hz monitor you're likely not going to notice that much of a difference anyway. And finally, Fortnite, again with the same methodology as PUBG. This one was actually again a very close race, I think only a couple of percentage points difference, with the 8600K still winning out with 143 FPS versus 139 for the 2600X. Now of course, as you saw with all of these numbers, the 8600K was the faster chip, anywhere from 2 to 18%, although the 18% ones I think a little bit of an asterisk on those, but either way, obviously if you want a straight up gaming CPU, the 8600K out of these two is the faster option. It is a little bit more expensive if you're buying it yourself, although the pre-configured systems from Mesh that you can check out in the link down below, those are very similarly priced, so feel free to take a look. Now, of course, there are some other things to consider if you're doing anything other than just gaming. Things like streaming, the 2600X should handle a little bit better because of those extra threads, and of course things like 3D modeling, video editing. Again, those extra threads, if the programs can make use of them, then the 2600X may be a better shout, and of course it does draw a little bit less power and is a little kind of cooler, but overall they're still both fantastic options, and I generally recommend both of them, just depending on which one you fancy, what platform you prefer, and what you plan on doing with it. So as I said at the start, thank you to ASUS and Mesh Computers for sponsoring this video. You can check out this system in the links in the description down below, or the 2600X version of this system as well. And of course I will be doing a full review of this system as well, so feel free to take a look at that too. Otherwise, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. Are you excited for a 2600X now that the B450 platform is here? Or are you, kind of going with the 8600K and, just sticking with Z370 or anything else? Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear from you. Otherwise, that is pretty much it. As I said, if you want to check out these systems, there's links down below. There's also plenty of other links in the description to help support this channel, keep me making these videos on a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday basis. There's plenty of affiliate links, as well as the Patreon link where you can support me directly, or you can check out the merch, which again I'm not wearing today, and pick up a t-shirt or hoodie or stickers or anything else. Of course, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button for new videos, as I said, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. There's plenty of other videos over here for you to check out. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. So thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you all in the next video.